Hi, my name is Tiffany Wright, and this is episode 4 of Lawyering Behind the Scenes, where we're talking about the rise of Peloton. So Peloton, one of my semi-new favorite things. I got a Peloton in December 2019, and now it is June 2020, so I've had it for about 7 months. It is one of those things, or one of those companies that has turned their customers into evangelists for them. So once you get a Peloton, you know, they really stress the community aspect of it, and then they have people and customers who are going out there being like, Peloton's so great, you should get a Peloton. They have referral codes, so you can get $100 off. If someone used your code, they can get $100 off, and then you get $100 credit. So it has great benefits, not only to your fitness. So let me take a step back. Peloton is a interactive fitness company that sells treadmills and bikes, and they have classes. So pre-COVID, they had live classes that you could also attend in studio if you live in New York or I think London. But now that we are in the midst of COVID, they have live classes that are either in the instructors' homes or at the studio that you can just attend live. So then you're riding or running with a group of people and the instructor in real time. Otherwise, you take classes that are on demand, and they have such a variety. They have like the treadmill, obviously, so that's running, walking, the bike, strength, yoga, meditation. I think that's about it, but a lot of selection. I personally love it. It gives me a lot of variety, and it really has helped me like step it up, especially with all the temptation that comes with quarantine and the eating and just kind of like sitting around and not getting as much activity as I would if I was in the office, you know, running around trying to get stuff done. Peloton has a community-based brand, I would say. So like, for instance, I'm in the Black Girl Magic group, which is awesome. It's like a really cool support system, sisterhood, you know, give each other suggestions, troubleshoot with each other on stuff related to our equipment. And then they have what they call like swarms, which is like a group of people riding together. And Peloton has like badges that you can earn. So they really make it an interactive experience, and they really encourage their members to come together as a community. And I think that is what's made them so successful. So Peloton was started in 2012. And it went public in 2019. So we're going to talk about their IPO, then we're going to talk about some controversy that they've had post-IPO, and then we'll talk about lawsuits that they've had. IPO is an initial public offering, so it's when a company goes public and they offer their shares to the public. Peloton went public in 2019, and their initial price per share was $29. So as of the date of this video, which is like towards the end of June, their stock price is $58. So in less than a year's time, they have almost doubled their initial public offering price, which is pretty amazing. I think it has a lot to do with quarantine though, so we'll get a little bit more into that later. Controversy. So the controversy surrounding it. So their main controversy was their ads. There is some controversy too, I guess I should mention, about like how much it costs to have a Peloton. It's, you know, a $2,000 to $3,000, $2,000 to $4,000 investment, depending on whether you get the bike or the tread. To me, it evens out. I just got rid of my gym membership. So their main source of controversy, aside from the pricing and the social economics of it, is that they had an ad that came out in December 2019, and it was for Christmas, and the ad featured basically a wife getting a Peloton for Christmas, a bike from her husband, and she made some like weird faces, like she was scared, she was nervous, and so and then it just showed like her progression, like how the first class she was nervous, and then she got used to it, and then now she's like, yay, I'm on my Peloton. And so the feedback, I guess, was that it was sexist, and it was like he was giving her the bike because she needed to lose weight and improve herself, and she was already like a slim fit person. I didn't really get the controversy, but I am also not easily offended by stuff like that. So, yeah. So their stock price dropped 6% due to that ad. But they've rebounded from that. Like I said, they're $58 per share now. They definitely rebound. And their response to the criticism was that it reflected what they see in their community. That people, you know, they have these stages. So there's like an official Peloton group on Facebook, for instance, and people share a lot there, like struggles that they're going through, how Peloton has changed their life, weight loss transformations that they have, stuff like that. So they felt Peloton's response was that they have basically, they showed the experience of their customers through that ad, and it wasn't meant to be like, oh, she needs to get a Peloton and lose weight from her husband. It was more like, look at how Peloton can empower you. I don't know if that was actually their intent or if they just made that up afterwards, who knows. But anyway, the result was it actually was really good publicity for the company. I think that's what the part of the reason why it blew up, especially during quarantine, because people didn't have access to the gym, so they started ordering the bikes like crazy. So who's laughing now? Now we're gonna get into the litigation that Peloton has been involved with. Peloton, in March 2019, they were sued by publishers of music publishers. So how the music publishing business works is that publishers license the music to other entities. So they'll license it to like bars, to roller skating rinks, karaoke, and gyms. And you have to get a license to use the music. And their licenses kind of depend on what the situation is, what the context it's being used at in the business. So Peloton did not get the right license is basically the core of the suit. So in March 2019, they said that, what is at issue is these sync licenses. Sync licenses are what are used in movies and televisions, because the distinction here that the publishers were making is we give licenses for people to use it as a gym. So like when you're giving a license for music used at a gym, it's just playing in the background or it's playing in a class and then that's it. With Peloton, as I mentioned at the beginning of my video, it is used repetitively. So it's used on demand. I think the crux of it is that it's used on demand. So on demand, you can go get it and you can play that class over again and it's featuring that music. And that is more akin to the license that you would need for it to be in a movie or television, because it's being played over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So there's a license associated with that obviously is going to cost more than something that, you know, you hear the song once in a class or you hear it twice in a class and, you know, people are just getting that live version of the playlist. Peloton, again, it's repeated many, many times. Some of the classes have, you know, 1 million people have taken that class on demand, and they have classes dating back from like 2016. So it is, according to the music publishers, and I actually tend to agree, it is abuse of a more limited license when you're going to be using it repetitively like that, and it's available on a continuous basis. The result of the lawsuit was that Peloton reached a settlement with them, and we don't know like what the actual settlement terms are, but they're fine now. They're using music, so they probably just paid a big price and they kept it moving. So the next suit we're going to talk about is Peloton versus Flywheel Sports. So if you don't know about Flywheel is a spinning or indoor cycling. So spinning, interesting thing about spinning is that is a trademark term, spinning. So you're really supposed to use like indoor cycling when you're not talking about like the actual company spinning. Interesting. I did not know that for the longest time because I always call it spinning. I've been indoor cycling for a long time, so I never knew that up until like maybe 2 years ago. So Flywheel is an indoor cycling company. If you haven't been to Flywheel, they have a lot of similar features to Peloton, and a lot of other indoor cycling studios, where there's like a board where people are basically competing against each other, and yeah, it's basically you try to get to the top of the leaderboard, which is basically the same thing that Peloton does. So in September 2018, Peloton sued Flywheel, saying that they copied their exercise bikes to allow their customers to access videos on demand. So then that made it similar to Peloton's model, basically, because Flywheel was more in studio, and then they tried to take it home and make it more competitive with Peloton, and using the screen and the leaderboard and all that. They said that they were using their on-demand proprietary thing. So then that they ended up settling that case. Interesting result to that suit too was that they had to shut down their at-home version of Flywheel, and then they gave their Flywheel customers basically access to convert their membership, at-home membership, to a Peloton membership and get a Peloton bike, which is a really kind of sad result. But that's why you don't steal people's inventions, and you have to be really tricky. You have to be really careful with patented technology, because there are repercussions if you're stealing patented technology. Look at Google and Waymo. That was a really big mess. Trade secrets, patents. You got to be careful. Just like develop your own stuff, or wait till it's you have to have a novel part of it. So lawsuit is Peloton versus NordicTrack. Peloton sued NordicTrack, basically saying that they were trying to copy Peloton's technology, and they were attempting to free ride off Peloton's innovative technology by integrating patented features that made the archived classes seem live to users. So that is what I was talking about, how Peloton, when you're taking an on-demand class, you can see everyone who's also taking that on-demand class with you. You can see everyone who's taken in the past also, but there's a setting or a feature where you can see who's taking it live with you, and that's how groups within Peloton will do the swarms, and that is a really big selling point for them, because you can take classes with friends. They even have a video feature where you can put a video on and take a class with a friend like that. But if not, you can just see each other on the leaderboard, and that kind of gets people into a competitive spirit, and it helps members challenge each other. That was a more recent suit, so that's still happening, and we don't know the end. So what we really talked about, it was a short period of time from the time that they went public in 2019 to now in 2020, where they've had a lot of controversy. Their IPO, what they thought was going to go flat, ended up being really successful, $29 per share to now a $58 per share. Their controversy with their ads, which actually gave them a lot of great publicity rather than negatively impacting their brand. Quarantine, I think, has had a big impact in that they've really been able to elevate their brand and get more popular, because people did not have access to gyms. So now everyone has taken that home. They have also had to deal with the stay-at-home orders, though, because they could not have their instructors in studio, because I think somebody caught COVID in the studio, so they couldn't do that anymore. Before, they weren't doing it in front of a class. So they were doing more just taped classes where the instructor was riding or running in front of no one. But then they even had to cut back on that, and then they had the instructors do the classes from home, which was cool. And I think a lot of people actually liked that, because it was like, I'm home, they're home. But there's technical issues with that. And then to their lawsuits, where they've been both in the plaintiff seat and as a defendant. In the plaintiff, it seems like that they have, from a plaintiff's perspective, they are really protective of their technology and willing to go after competitors who seek to jeopardize their spot and seek to, I guess, use their technology without their permission. The music aspect, where they were the defendant, I think that they probably felt it was in their best interest to settle that case, because the music is such an integral part of exercising. Like, it pumps people up, it gets them motivated, and it would be difficult for them to proceed without having some goodwill with respect to music publishers, because they need them in order to integrate the music into their platform. So I hope you learned a lot about Peloton in that short video. And some videos that are coming up is I'm going to do a video all about dogs and the lawyering behind the scenes of dog ownership, how you can get in trouble if your dog bites someone, vet liability, breeder liability, what can go wrong, and some lawsuits and cases surrounding that. Another episode that I am going to do is how to get out of a DUI. That is like one of the first things that we learned in law school. I don't know why. I felt like it was during orientation. One of the professors was like, this is how you get out of a DUI. I haven't had to use it personally, but I do think it works, and I won't say why. And then I'm also going to do an episode about marriage, about prenuptial agreements, the engagement, marriage, and then unfortunately if you get divorced, and how lawyering that goes into that, more into family law, and on the front end about prenups and engagement, contract law. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.